Mhm. Mhm. Mm. It's 10:30.
Let the show begin.
Good morning. How are you today? Okay, welcome everyone. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag, of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Remain standing for prayer, please. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Thank you, everyone, and welcome. We will hold our next public workshop here on Tuesday, June 3rd at 10:30 a.m. And then we'll hold our next regular meeting here as well on Wednesday, June 4th at 10:30 a.m. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Bernard,
Here.
Mr. Malloy,
Here.
Mr. Hernandez.
Here.
Item number 1 is to dispense with reading the minutes of the workshop session dated May 20th, 2025, and the regular meeting dated May 21st, 2025, and accept and approve the video recordings of both meetings as the official meeting minutes.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Mr. Bernard.
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Yes.
Item number 2 is to approve the bills.
Motion to approve?
Second that?
Mr. Bernard.
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Yes.
Item number 3 is to transfer monies.
Motion to approve?
Second motion?
Mr. Bernard.
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Yes.
Item number 4 is to approve additional appropriations.
Motion to approve?
Second that?
Mr. Bernard.
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Yes.
Item number 5 is to approve decrease of appropriations.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Mr. Bernard.
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Yes.
Item number 6 is to approve transfer of appropriations.
Motion to approve?
Second motion?
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Mr. Bernard.
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Yes.
Item number 7 is to adopt a resolution approving the submitted list labeled as ORC 5705.41D, March of 2025, of purchase orders to the various vendors as then and now purchase orders.
Motion to approve?
Second motion?
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Mr. Bernard.
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Yes.
Item number 8 is to approve the transfer of Jennifer Leonard from clerk specialist / bookkeeper at the Clerk of Courts, pay range 7, year 18, 2616 per hour, to accounts payable clerk, pay range 8, year 18, 2816 per hour. And I'm going to add within the Board of Commissioners office to that, effective Monday, June 2nd, 2025.
Motion to approve?
Second motion?
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Mr. Bernard.
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Yes.
Item number 9 is to receive and place on file the 2025 March and April monthly financial reports for the Trumbull County Tourism Bureau.
Motion to approve?
Second motion?
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Mr. Bernard.
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Yes.
Item number 10 is to receive and place on file the Trumbull County Engineers 2024 Annual Report as submitted by Trumbull County Engineer David DeCristofaro pursuant to and in accordance with Section 5543.02 of the Ohio Revised Code.
Motion to approve?
Second motion?
Mr. Bernard.
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Yes.
Item number 11 is to approve the contract agreement between Trumbull County Engineer, and International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 66. The agreement shall be in effect from July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2028.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Bernard.
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Yes.
Item 12 is to concur with the Trumbull County Engineer to grant the special hauling permit to move overweight equipment requested by the company listed, Rich's Towing and Service.
Motion to approve?
I'll second that.
Mr. Bernard.
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Yes.
Item 13 is to concur with the county engineer to grant the special hauling permit to haul steel coils requested by the company listed, J-Row Transportation Services, Inc.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Bernard.
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Yes.
Item 14 is to concur with the county engineer to grant the special annual supplier fleet permit requested by the company listed, Heiss Equipment and H&H Land Clearing LLC.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Bernard.
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Yes.
Item 15 is to concur with the county engineer to grant the right-of-way permits requested by the company and property owners as listed, Enbridge Gas Ohio, Mervyn Yoder, and Dustin Anglin.
Motion to approve?
Second motion?
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Mr. Bernard.
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Yes.
Item 16 is to grant permission to the county engineer to close the road listed South Levitt Road, County Highway 83B in Warren Township between Kibler Toot and Risher Road for a movie production on Sunday, June 1st, 2025 between 10 a.m. and 7 p.m.
Motion to approve?
Second motion?
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Mr. Bernard.
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Yes.
Item 17 is to award the lowest responsive and responsible bid as submitted by Jet Excavating Company for the TRU Township Highway 123A Barclay Messerly Road Bridge Replacement Project located in Braceville Township in the amount of $1,067,956.62, funded at 100% by a bridge funding program grant received through the County Engineers Association of Ohio, and to enter into a contract with Jet Excavating Company for said project.
Motion to approve?
Second motion?
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Mr. Bernard.
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Yes.
Item 18 is to award the lowest responsive and responsible bid as submitted by Yankee Clipper Company, Inc. for the year 2025 road pavement marking program in the amount of $119,870 and to enter into a contract with Yankee Clipper Company, Inc. for said project.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Bernard.
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Yes.
Item 19 is to approve Neighborhood Development Services, Inc. as the most qualified firm to carry out professional inspection services associated with the application and implementation of the Project Year 2024 Community Housing Impact and Preservation CHIP Program in Warren Trumbull Home Consortium, and to authorize Rick Hernandez, President of the Board of Commissioners, to execute said agreement for the term of December 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2027.
Motion to approve?
Mr. Bernard.
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Yes.
Item 20 is to approve Bauman Land Title Agency, Inc. as the lowest and best bid to carry out title search requirements associated with implementation of the Project Year 2024 Community Housing Impact and Preservation CHIP Program in Warren Trumbull Home Consortium, and to authorize Rick Hernandez, President of the Board of Commissioners, to execute said agreement for the term of May 20th, 2025 through December 31st, 2027.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Bernard.
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Yes.
Item 21 is to approve the detailed drawings for the Sable Creek Development Sanitary Sewer Extension, known as County Project Number 1-S-25, Trumbull County Combined Sanitary Sewer District, Mineral Ridge Subdistrict, and Sable Creek Development Waterline Extension, known as County Project Number 2-W-25 in the Mineral Ridge Water District.
Motion to approve?
Second motion?
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Mr. Bernard,
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
yes,
Item 22 is to enter into a non-reimbursable extension agreement for the extension of a sanitary sewer in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code, Section 307.73, with Michelle Mankemeyer on Sable Creek Drive in Weathersfield Township, Trumbull County Combined Sanitary Sewer District, Mineral Ridge Subdistrict, known as County Project 1-S-25.
Motion to approve?
Second motion?
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Mr. Bernard,
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
yes,
Item 23 is to enter into a non-reimbursable extension agreement for the extension of a water line in accordance with Ohio Revised Code 307.73 with Michelle Mankemeyer and Sable Creek Drive in Weathersfield Township, Mineral Ridge Public Water System, known as County Project Number 2-W-25.
Motion to approve?
Second motion?
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Mr. Bernard.
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
yes,
Item 24 is to approve the detailed sanitary sewer drawings for the Caleb Road Sanitary Sewer Improvements Project, Warren Township, Trumbull County Combined Sanitary Sewer District, Metropolitan Subdistrict, known as County Project Number 4-S-25.
Motion to approve?
Second motion?
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Mr. Bernard.
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
yes,
Item 25 is to authorize the Trumbull County Commissioners Clerk to advertise for sealed proposals for substance abuse treatment services for the Trumbull County Jail. The Trumbull County Sheriff's Office seeks proposals from qualified organizations to provide comprehensive, evidence-based substance abuse treatment and recovery services to inmates within the Trumbull County Jail.
Motion to approve?
Second motion?
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Mr. Bernard,
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
yes,
Item 26 is to authorize the Trumbull County Commissioners Clerk to advertise for sealed bids for the renovation of the Sheriff's Office Evidence Room. This project includes the complete renovation of the evidence room to secure the structure, install new walls, doors, sprinkler system, shelving, and surveillance.
Motion to approve?
Second motion?
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Mr. Bernard.
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
yes,
Item 27 is to approve an agreement between the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners and the City of Warren, Ohio for waste collection services for various county buildings as listed for a 2-year period commencing July 1st, 2025 and ending June 30th, 2027. Pricing is all-inclusive, monthly total $2,186.50 for an annual total of $26,238.
Motion to approve?
I'll second that.
Question on the motion. I thought the stone building and Ween building was coming off.
No, Ween Building, we said to do it just once a week and go to a 4-yard instead of an 8-yard 3 times a week.
Okay.
Chestnut came off.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chestnut came off, correct.
Okay.
And it did.
Oh, okay. All right.
Mr. Bernard,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Yes,
Item 28 is to award a price proposal to CLR Utilities for the Trumbull County Fairgrounds 4-H Building Project and Related Structures Project in the amount of $11,950 for the installation of 9 telephone poles required to expand the proposed public address system.
Motion to approve?
Second motion?
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Mr. Bernard,
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
yes,
Item 29 is to authorize Trumbull County 911 to begin Phase 1 of the dispatch relocation process by permitting the chosen architects, Phillips Secanic, Inc., to work with the chosen consultants, MCM Consulting Group, Inc., to facilitate structural, engineering, and space studies to formulate cost analysis and renderings of the proposed renovation project. Phase 1 will assist the commissioners in determining the proper funding needed for the Trumbull County dispatch relocation and supply renderings to be used to secure that funding. Project cost will be $18,300 to Phillips Secanic, Inc., structural engineer not to exceed $30,000 and $45,561 to MCM Consulting Group.
Motion to approve?
I'll second the motion.
Discussion?
Um, Commissioner?
I'll start out with say this is something that's been in the works for more than a dozen years. We went 3 years without a permanent director, with a temporary director. Starting at that time, now it's been 5 years. We've had employees at the 911 center on mandatory overtime for 5 years. We have many employees there that are working 65 hours a week. We have a massive shortage of employees there. Vacations have been denied. Personal days that people want off for their kids for 5 years now have been denied off and on because of emergency staffing. They're in the basement of an old morgue that is asbestos-filled building upstairs. And that was never meant, if you go back to when the 911 center was put there at Hillside Hospital, it was never meant to be a permanent location. If you look at the minutes and the news clippings and the articles from back going on 30 years ago. And now here we are 30 years later. They've had a major flood there that we had to pay for once. There isn't enough room, and the morale there in that place is like working in a dungeon. So we need to move them out of there. We need to get them better working conditions. We need to put new life in the 911 system than we have, not only for those employees, but for the safety of every police officer, every fireman, and everybody that goes their phone to dial 911 at some time in their life in a crisis moment. We need to have it be top notch. And right now, we're scraping the bottom of the bucket. Thank God we have good employees that are there that have handled the stress and the anxiety and those working conditions for so long. We did do a long-term study over the last 3 years. We paid for a feasibility study that we paid $250,000 for 6 years ago, then had to pay for it again a couple of years ago to look for what we needed in a 911 center. They came that this building in Cortland is the prime location. We did look at 4 or 5 other buildings as a group, and even more than that, just with having our consultant and our maintenance supervisor go out with the old directors to look at different facilities. We hired Tacey about a year and a half ago, and part of the job when we hired her was, we're going to move you, and you need to lead the charge with that, with what technology we need, what can make us a modern facility like the one she came from in Norwalk, Ohio, and Huron County. So we've given her the task to do that. She's done her job. We had the feasibility study that was complete last fall. They started a 911 review board by law we had to do, which was done in this January. They've met twice. That board recommended unanimously that this is a location that they think is best suited for a 911 center, for location, for all the different things that are in there. There's 100 different things to look for in a 911 center they needed. Part of it was the quality of the building to be able to be a Category 4 building in case there's a massive storm, tornado, things like that. We can't put them in a pole building. We've had people say, well, let's just put them behind the engineers. And I even thought that initially. Let's put them where EMA is. And it's a pole building that would blow away with, not even a tornado. There could be damages. So we can't have that in our emergency center that everyone's going to rely on in time of crisis. So we've talked about it. We've debated it. It's time to move forward on this. It's time to get things done. And we don't know how much it's going to cost to actually move them until we have the architects tell us, here's what we need to cool the computers. Here's what we need for data storage. Here's what we need for terminals for the dispatch CADs that they use. Once they tell us that, then we can go and hunt down the funding to secure it. We need to do it one way or another anyway, and sitting on our hands is going to do nothing but make the costs go up more and more. So that's why I propose that we move forward with this, and for the benefit of all citizens and the safety of all involved.
Thank you, Commissioner, and I'll concur with all that you had said. In addition to that, keep in mind that the job is very stressful, and they've been operating out of an environment that not only adds to their stress, but if you can imagine working in a building where you can't even, there's no windows, it's solid walls. The building is basically falling apart. I've been coming here 2 years to workshops prior to becoming a commissioner, elected commissioner, and I've seen Tacey Donahue, who is the director, come to the board on several occasions and she's been turned down on several occasions. So we do need to move forward. And I concur again with Commissioner Malloy on the study. I believe that ultimately this move will save the county probably in approximately $1 million to maybe $1.5 million, maybe even more. I personally have toured the building with the director of the health board, and my understanding is that it makes perfect sense and is the perfect opportunity for the move. So that is my reasoning for the second of the motion. Commissioner, I'm sure you have something to say, Commissioner Bernard.
Well, I agree that 911 needs to be moved. I'm just not sure of the plan. I don't see us really having a plan to move them. I thought we were going to hire a consultant a couple months ago and sit down with the consultant and get a plan. I mean, 911 isn't the only situation that we have. We have a coroner that doesn't have a home, that's out at the emergency management, conducting autopsies. So I just think we need a plan to know where we're going to get the money from, how we're going to fund it. Yesterday, you both told me that you're leaning towards placing a sales tax in.
I never said that, Commissioner.
well,
Not one time did
well,
I even hint that.
Okay.
So don't put words in my mouth with
Well,
that. That's not
I said
true.
hinted, okay. But anyway, or borrowing the money, okay. I just think with our financial situation here, we need to sit down, figure out what we want to do and how we want to do it before we move forward. I agree, 911 needs to be moved. You indicated it's been a problem for many years. I keep going back to, you had some money and you didn't use it for that, and I'm not going to put it on the backs of the taxpayers.
Well,
So
I agree. We
let's just vote.
shouldn't be on that, but we need to move forward. We cannot move forward. And in addition to this, I'll make a motion after this motion is voted on that I'm going to make a motion next that we enter in a MOA with the health department to secure with them that we are coming there. We'll make a decision that that is our place that we are moving towards. We already had a consultant say that's it. We already had a feasibility study say that's it. Unless the architects come up with something that says, whoa, put the brakes on, we need to let the health department know, yes, we are coming. Because right now they're holding that building for us. I've been reached out to by members of the health department and by Cortland City Council saying, we invited you here. We want you here. Here's a letter that we did a resolution. We want you here. Are you coming or not? We're not going to sit and wait forever and hold this place for you until we know you are actually coming. So I would like to at least let them know that's the direction we're heading officially. Put the architects to work, see what's going to cost, and get them moved.
Well, let's see what the agreement says. We don't even have an agreement with the Board of Health saying,
That's what I'm saying. We need to do a
Well,
resolution to enter into a
they need
memorandum
to-
with them on what the
no,
agreement
they
is.
need to submit us an agreement so
They
we
already
can look at
did.
that.
They did last year. They gave us a letter that it was rent free. We already voted on this and accepted their their agreement more than, I think it was a year ago,
Well,
probably 12 months ago with the old board that from the health department of what their terms were of us moving there.
look,
We just got to pull it up in the file.
Again, I agree. They need to be moved. Just someone tells me where we're going to find the funds. That's all.
Well, I like with discussion, Commissioner Bernard and Malloy. We had never mentioned sales tax to fund it. Mahoning County has 3 new buildings. They have a new dog pound. They have a beautiful 911 center, and the coroner's not working out of a dungeon with a light bulb over his head. There is such a thing as taking loans. We can move forward with getting a loan, bond issue, a note. It could be a 20-year. It could be a 20-year plan. But at some point, we have to move forward to accompany, and to allow our employees. The worst thing that I could see happening is that we start losing employees because of the working conditions, especially the director that worked so hard that has brought this department to where it is today. So to answer that question, it wouldn't require a sales tax. It would require a loan. And I'm just praying that this building suffices and that we spend the money that we do spend on the engineering study and that then we move forward with the move. And I believe again that the county's going to save a minimum of $1 million, if not maybe even up to $2 million instead of building a new building. This just seems to make sense. So that's my point.
Well, again, I like to see us hire a consultant that we've been waiting on a month to get back to us on, so we could sit down with them, because, this isn't our only problem. Like you said, the corner, he has a major problem out there, and we just need a plan to address all these issues to see how we go forward. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you for your comments, commissioners. We need a vote.
We need to take a vote on item 29. Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Yes.
Mr. Bernard.
No.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion from the floor that we enter into a memorandum of understanding with the health commissioner of the combined health district on terms of a lease with the county commissioners regarding 911 for the upstairs uses of their building. And when we come to terms, we could bring that back here to vote on that, but at least like to make a motion that we enter into a memorandum of understanding with them to give us what the terms will be officially.
Second the motion.
Question, so you're just asking for them to submit us a proposal?
I'll ask for them for us to enter in a contract, get with our prosecutor or who represents both of us. This should be something, Bill, you can handle with that, because it's friendly terms to work with the combined health district and us to come up with what the lease agreement is. What they told us before is we could be there for life for free, but there were some maintenance things that they had talked about of sharing the plowing, sharing the mowing, things like routine maintenance issues, cleaning the building, things like that. But we'll iron all that stuff out to have the official package from them and then enter the agreement that we're moving forward in that direction.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Yes.
Yes, I don't have a problem with seeing what the agreement will say.
Thank you.
Okay. That concurs our regular agenda items. We're going to move into public comment. And if you could please approach the podium, you have 3 minutes for discussion. And please give your name and location, your residence.
Good morning. Deb Roth, Warren Township resident, president of Our Lives Count. We are here today to again talk about the Levittsburg Dam and the Metro Parks issue. As you know, we were denied through Judge Rice's court. If you read the brief that he submitted denying it, I'm sure that you can relate to the fact that it was authored by Metro Parks. It's everything they're out on the street saying. U.S. commissioners approved and contributed to a study that was conducted to have an independent, non-biased opinion of what the things that could happen out there. That study confirmed our concerns about the stability of banks and the roads collapsing. It also confirmed the issue of it's not going to change the floodplain. So the flooding's still going to happen, but actually it's going to be worse because the dam will restricts the speed of the water. Without it being there, the water will travel faster. The other issues are some environmental concerns that the community had because the toxins that used to be in the water are now in the sediment. And if we drop the level of the water, we're going to expose the sediment that holds those contaminants. Again, that study confirmed those things. There's also a letter dated February 25th of 2025 from the very contractor that Metro Parks has to do this to the Metro Parks Board, again, confirming the very things we said, the stability of the banks, the possibility of the roads collapsing, the environmental issues. That's by their very own contractor. Yesterday, they started procedures such as removing mussels, which those mussels are beneficiary to that waterway. They help with keeping the water clean and things like that. they're also part of the ecosystem that's been developed over the past 100 and some years from that being there. Commissioner Hernandez, you're very familiar with, from a township aspect, having a threat that's going to create an environmental issue as well as threaten the public safety, feels like when that landfill tried to go into Hubbard. And it was the members of Our Lives Count that stood by Hubbard Township people and tried to help you guys to get that stopped. You were part of the filings that we started out with that went to Judge Rice, and it's been several weeks, and you've taken no action to join with Warren Township for the appeal process. Warren Township has submitted the appeal. There's actually a hearing at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Our question is what do they think when the commissioners haven't stood by what they stood up for to begin with? I know that, you know, your ears are being filled with the propaganda that Metro Parks is putting out about the benefits of taking this dam out. And, you know, we could at least have an open mind to look at, even though they're building their Field of Dreams Peninsula project, and I say Field of Dreams because although that movie indicated build it and they'll come, it's not a build it and they'll come in Warren City, because they need to get in line their issues with the drug issues and all the shootings and those kind of things. I know people that won't drive through Warren, let alone take a canoe down a river. Sometimes you have to stand for something or you fall for everything. And there is an alternative to the removal of the dam that will give them their Field of Dreams project for their alleged Peninsula project. But let me also point out that that project, their concern is without removing the dam that they won't get the funding so they can build that on somebody else's back instead of their own. And when you look at Courthouse Square, it's beautiful down here. I mean, that too was not built on the backs of Warren City. It was built on the backs of guys like Mark Marvin, Jimmy DeCenzio. They're the ones that made this city what it looks like today. Warren City needs to stand on their own 2 feet, and they need to stop threatening and taking away things from Warren Township. They've given us a landfill. We have a prison out there. We have drug rehab houses, all things that we didn't ask for. They condemn us about the sewage going into the Mahoning River when the reality is Trumbull County entered into a consent agreement with EPA over 25 years ago for that sewer project because that is the best form of remediation for what's going on. It is not the fault of the property owners that that's happening right now. Trumbull County had to end up signing a consent decree because they were the issue that created the problem that exists today. So again, here we are, Warren Township threatened by things that we have no control over. Then we move on to FEMA, and you know, the sins of the fathers go to the sons. You guys are there. It's you now. I'm not saying that it's your fault. And it doesn't matter whose fault it is, but the very existence of these things, someone has to step up and do the right thing. I don't care that, oh, they did that in the past. It's the way we've always done it. That doesn't fix the problem. It does not fix the problem. We want to know, take a vote. Tell us what you're going to do with this injunction that's going in front of the appellate court today at 1 o'clock. It has more power when it's the township trustees and the commissioners. What did those judges think over there when the commissioners bail out? You guys thought it was important enough and it was threatening the lives of our community and our very existence of our community before is why you stood with us. Don't walk away now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Roth.
Kay Anderson, Warren Township trustee. We've been dealing with this over 4 years. You know, Commissioner Malloy, you've been involved with this as long as we have. And there's not much more I can say that Debbie Roth just said to you all. But it's a little disheartening when you think you're on board. And at one of the last meetings that I attended here, Metro Park started tearing down the trees and you were in executive session. When you came out, I showed you the pictures that Ryan Yoho had sent of what they were doing. And I'll never forget the looks on your faces and the words that you said. And you said things like, we have to help the people. And as Trumbull County Commissioners, I hope you still feel that way, because we're kind of at a loss, thinking we were all on the same page. And I don't know what changed this. And yesterday we got a call early morning that Metro Parks was moving machinery in, and it was just a total disaster all day long. That they did have something in there, but because of the sewer lines going in, there was other equipment brought in, and they're right across from. And it just caused a panic in our township, and my phone blew up all day. And it's like, we're just living on borrowed time, waiting to see if they're going to do something. They agreed not to do anything till June 1st, according to the contract, and having discussions with our attorney, Tom Hall. And yet they started yesterday. So I can't say that anybody in our township has faith in what they're going to do and when they're going to do it. And like I said, Debbie said it all, pretty much what I was going to be saying today. And I just hope, I see your attorney is here, and I hope we can come to a solution so that I can go back and tell our residents that you are on board with us, because it just kind of feels like a slap in the face when everybody was at a meeting that you were on board with us. And we appreciate that, because we need you. And we hope that you remember the words, we have to help the people. Because like Debbie said, we get everything out. I've stood here and said it so many times. A prison, a landfill, recovery houses. Warren City gets all the advantages and we get all the grief. So just begging you for your help to give this some consideration today, so we have an answer one way or the other to go back, because right now we're just out in limbo. And our attorney is going to be at the appellate court at 1 o'clock today. And I don't know if your attorney was made aware of that or not, but now he is. So thanks for giving me this much time.
Thank you, Trustee Anderson.
Terry Ambrose, Warren Township resident. And I just have a few additional comments on the dam removal project in Warren Township, and I thank you for giving me some time. Those are two tough acts to follow. Just from a common sense perspective, this isn't emotional or sentimental. And I know this has been discussed before many times, but I think it's worth repeating. As a result of a study that was done, there's a less costly solution and a less destructive solution that has been presented to all parties, including the Metro Parks. We have many committed residents and many here, some here today that grew up on the river, and they have an extensive knowledge of this that the so-called experts can't match. And so we're using taxpayers' money for grant money. Grant money sounds great, but it's all funded with your money and mine. And I think this solution could save our taxpayers' grant money and be used for projects that are much needed in the area. The bridge that our county engineer was so concerned about, that could be an added expense that you won't be able to bear too easily. So I'm just saying, once again, let's let common sense prevail on this issue.
Thank you, Ms. Ambrose.
Good morning, Faye Smith, resident of Leavittsburg. I spent over 30 years in, in dealing with national security issues, and now I'm looking at the local security issues. I gave each of you commissioners and some of you here in the room a one-page document that synopsizes and is sourced on the back page everything that I was able to read and many of us were able to read in the past 6 months since I first got involved in this whole dam removal issue. Having been reared in Leavittsburg and living away for 30 years, I thought nothing of it at first until I started doing research. When one of my human sources brought to my attention an Ohio EPA study that I believe is listed here first of all the poisons that are in the river. So today I'd just like to let you know what I learned since this was published and has been being passed around in 1950s style fashion at church parking lots, Warren courthouse area, and just now to some of the members of the press. And what I've learned is, and I cannot find it because my background is in national issues. My skills are a little weak right now in researching with all these new tools with the computers. Uranium, of all things, is a concern I was unaware of, especially up around the Newton Falls area where they had some sort of secret um, development things going on for the United States government during World War II. That is now safely under the blanket of the sediment that these people want to disturb, as if the dam is removed in Leavittsburg, it's going to cause all of those sediments to move forward all the way into Warren and beyond into Pennsylvania, could be loosed into the air as well. So I do thank you for your concern. I can tell by your faces you are concerned commissioners and you're trying to do the best by the people. But I want to leave you with two thoughts, if I may. Please, please do some air testing and water testing now. There's an independent company in Austintown called Cardinal Water that I get my well water tested with to ensure that it's not polluted with something like uranium or any of these other heavy metals that are reported to be in the sediment layers of the Mahoning River. If you all could work with us to do that and ensure that if that dam is removed, we are safe. I fear not from all the research I have done. And I would just like to leave you with these two, trying to come up with a metaphor. The best thing I can come up with, if Metro Parks removes this dam, it'd be like waking up a giant hydra with God knows how many tentacles that is now sleeping under a blanket of protected sediment. You wake that hydra up, it's not just going to be what I've listed in my, not my, but the sourced information sheet. There could be things in there we're completely unaware of that are woken. And Metro Parks is building their water park, so to speak, as if they're in Chernobyl, hoping that they're not going to unleash something worse. From what I've researched, it's that bad that they mean to have their water park built right on Chernobyl in Ukraine. That would be possible safely to do maybe another 100 years from now from the research, but not today, not now. All those sediments are still being cleaned by the muscles that Deb Roth had mentioned. Nature herself is cleaning it up, but not today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Smith.
Jim Hassler, Leavittsburg Dam Committee. I was reading up the grand plan here, and it says they're gonna remove all sediment from the dam pool. I don't think they know what, either they don't know what a dam pool is, or they're getting ready to make a big mistake. Because once they remove the dam, all that stuff's gonna get busted loose during the work there and go down and become somebody else's problem. And, right now, they're down there, scuba diving for clams, okay? And when we went to the meeting over at the highway engineers building there. The people that did that study for us, DLZ, I think it is, they're supposed to recover as many of them clams from that whole 11-mile stretch of river as they can. Okay, not just down. All they're doing is doing the work down where their area is down there in Canoe City. They're not worried about the rest of the river whatsoever. They're not going to do any dredging of the contaminated sediments or anything. Once they take that, knock a hole in that dam, it's about impossible to do it. So somebody needs to talk to them about that.
Thank you, sir. Okay, do we have any other comments?
Commissioner, in light of hearing that, I'd like to make a comment too. We're 60-some thousand deep into this thing already. We did make a commitment to do it for the right reasons. We got an opinion from a judge. Although I respect the judge, I don't agree with his opinion. There were things in there, even concerning me, where he said, when I brought up the alternatives that were told to me by the EPA and the governor's office, and he said that was hearsay. A simple phone call to the EPA could have cleared that up. Us testifying in court could have cleared that up. Us calling the witness from the EPA could have cleared that up. And that whole thing, the judge in the air that said it was hearsay, would have been debunked right there. There was no, and I took offense to that part of the ruling that he said that that was hearsay. I personally talked to the governor's staff. I personally talked to the deputy director of the EPA in charge of waterways, and there are alternatives. And the alternatives they told me on the phone were give the money back and they'd be off the hook for whatever they already spent. Do an alternative plan and reapply the money, working with the EPA to reapply the money toward River Rock, Ripple, portaging around one of the other alternatives, or come up with a different solution and then reapply for a different grant that the EPA would work to fast track to make the situation work. That's all I want this Metro Parks Board to do is sit down with the EPA and hear it for themselves. They can still have the beautiful peninsula project with Ripple Rock. I believe it was Trustee Yoho said that might even attract more people to the river to get a chance to go down the rapids, to get a chance to go into a West Virginia, Southern Pennsylvania type of a river where there's a little bit of rapids. Not that it's going to be huge rapids, but it'll be something that's safe. And it will retain the culture of everything 11 miles north of the dam. They also have used the argument that, well, this is something they want to do nationwide. They want to get rid of these low head dams. Well, they're not removing every dam in the river. They've already said Newton Falls Dam they're not touching. Newton Falls says they're not touching it, and they backed off because Newton Falls owns it, and they can make a decision. So they're not removing every dam. So that's a falsehood too. And there may be one or two other dams in this river system that aren't going to be removed. They also say by removing the dam, it'll bring the river back to a natural state. That could never happen unless they remove Lake Milton Dam and West Branch Dam, Kerwin Dam, because those rivers were part of that. They dammed it up to form the lake. So they get to pick and choose their argument that they want to make it sound good, to be able to sell it to the public. Bottom line is that there was also a comment that was made that the people in Warren Township are selfish, that the people in Warren Township are selfish, that they want to hold this up so the rest of the county is not going to enjoy canoeing or whatever. I think the Parks Board is being selfish because they are taking a culture north of that dam where people do fish, where there are muskie, where there are walleye, where people have boats, they have pontoons, they have docks, they have kind of riverfront property that they live on, that they've lived on for decades, and someone wants to change it. For what reason? I haven't been given a valid enough reason to change it. They use the argument of safety. You gotta, we've had 3 people hit by cars around this building in the last year and a half, and we're not banning cars in downtown Warren. And they're talking about a dam that, yeah, someone could drown there. Someone could drown in a bathtub today if it's a baby unattended. Those arguments to me don't carry any weight. I want them to sit down, hear the facts, listen to the people, be a receptive public servant like we are. And I'm not saying it should stay, go. All I know is I see the alternatives that sound like common sense, and I hear from the professionals as far as the health aspects, the sewage aspects. You know, I got to trust our engineer, our former engineer. He was in this hand in hand with the commissioners because he believes there's a real threat to that road to West Market Street. And I trust his professional opinion as an engineer who knows his job. And we have track record to show this did happen in Tuscarawas County. So for those reasons, I would hope that we as commissioners, I would like for us to stay in the fight. If anything, to let the process play out and not bail, fight it to the end. And when the end is there, the end is there. You know, but we're not at the end. If we bail now, I think we're pulling out in the fourth quarter. It's a tie game, and we are, or maybe down by 3, and we still got a whole quarter to play. Well, I don't know that. We do have our attorney here. I do know that they are, and once they take that, I'm sure they are chomping at the bit to get that first chunk, because then that's a cheap way for them to say, oh, well, too late. I would hope that we would join on. At least they've already filed an appeal. If we can at least sign on with a commitment that we support their appeal. We've got our attorney here. He already told us it's not going to cost that much more money to continue on with this process here through the appeal. I think in appeal, we have a really good chance of getting it back to where people can actually testify and get the real facts out.
Commissioner.
So I'm a yes vote. Now it's up to these two.
Well, my personal opinion is one way, and my other opinion is another way. I totally disagree with the judge's decision. I know that Warren Township has filed an appeal. I don't think the outcome of the appeal matters whether we're a part of that or not. We have spent approximately $65,000 of taxpayers' money trying to stop the dam. I've personally met with a board member of the Metro Parks about 8 days ago, asked them if we could sit down with their board and come up with an alternative. I was turned down. In my opinion, their opinion is they're moving forward. Again, I disagree with the judge's decision. He's saying, let them move forward. And I don't know how it helps us to keep spending money when the judge's decision allows them to keep going forward. Believe me, I think the dam should stay, but I don't know by us spending any more money if that's going to help the situation.
I would concur with Commissioner Bernard. Debbie, as well as you and I know, we've fought many situations. We've fought landfills. We've fought injection wells. Most of what we had done in those efforts has been monies that have been raised by fundraising efforts in private entities. I support the fact that you are appealing it. Again, I concur with Commissioner Bernard that to spend more monies when an appeal is out there already on the board, we could support you without an appeal and without spending any additional taxpayers' dollars. Everything that Commissioner Bernard had said, I would agree with. I just feel that at some point, this county has got to stop spending taxpayers' money. We were here. We came in late in the game. Monies had already been spent, I believe, probably close to $30,000, $40,000 on this issue. We did commit to an appeal. And in my opinion, I just believe that we could support you, but yet we do have to be careful about spending taxpayers' monies. And there's 24 townships here that are watching us. I understand.
I think those
understand your
24
point.
townships are going to say, wow, I hope the commissioners don't bail on us like they bailed on Warren Township.
I'm not bailing on them. I'm just saying we support them, but to be a part of the appeal and to spend more money, taxpayers' money, I would concur with the commissioner that I would not want to spend any additional monies to fight it.
I believe we have a rogue board that we are partially responsible for, that we have funded over the years. They told a commissioner to his face 8 days ago, they're not going to sit down and listen to him. They're not going to even have the conversation to sit down like men and try to work this thing out, knowing there's taxpayer dollars on the line that they are forcing the hands to cause Warren Township and other people to fight them with, and use their own money that comes from us to fight our own township citizens and residents. That's not right. And I do agree. We need to take a stand against injustice. And if we've stated we don't believe the judge's opinion, we think he was wrong. Like I said, highest respect in the world for the judge, but he's only can do what he can do. And there are judges that don't mind when sometimes their things get overturned on appeal. They could say, I did my job, it was appealed. They're off the hook too from any political pressures or any decisions that are out there. So this is a situation I think we will win an appeal very easily. I think we'll win, and I think we'll get a chance to give Warren Township their day in court and let a jury of their peers decide what is best for the citizens of Trumbull County. And we're already this much in. If we bail, that money's wasted. If we go a little bit longer to save that money, I just think it's worth it for the little bit more that we would spend through this appeal process. Warren Township's taking a lead. At least, at the very least, we could sign on a proclamation or a support letter or something that we support the appeal that Warren Township is doing. Doesn't even mean we have to have money in the game. We don't have to have
I
skin
would
in the
not,
game with
I would
that.
not disagree with that.
But I do think we have an attorney that's got outstanding skills there. It would be an asset to help Warren Township when it comes to appeals process. And we've already paid him over $10,000 or so to do his job. And now we want to tell him, thanks, your services are no longer needed, when we can give him that little bit extra. He believes he can win an appeal.
Commissioner, I would not be against a letter of support on the appeal, but to just spend money on another appeal when it's being appealed, what difference does it make to show the support, whether it's the letter or whether it's spending another $2,500 or $3,000 on the appeal, taxpayer money? Surely, I'm sure that Commissioner Bernard would agree with me. We would all sign a letter of support for the appeal.
Can I
But-
please comment?
Sure, go ahead, Ms. Roth.
So what I've taken from the conversation you guys just had is now it's become a money issue with this issue. So what value do you put on the lives of the people of Warren Township? Let me also point out that this hearing that we were denied on also took a knife to the back of zoning regulations and tossed them right out the window when they say that the zoning didn't matter for Warren Township. I'm sure that you all read the brief. So when you say there's 24 other townships out there, exactly. And when they go back to case law, there you go. Just take your zoning book and pitch it out the window because it no longer matters. When you say it doesn't add value to you guys getting on, you have a seasoned attorney that's been in this fight and leading the charge. Why would you not continue to assure that this appeal goes through? Why are you going to bill for money? You want to say that we're strapped as a county financially. We talk about all these budget crunches and all these kind of things, and you just hired a new person in a new position for the commissioner's office. You know, I heard that the other side wants to know when is enough enough. We've been saying that from the beginning. They won't even come to the table. If it wasn't for the alternative that is in place, we might swallow a little easier. But there's an alternative that costs less money, that doesn't change anything for them, and still gives them their Field of Dream Peninsula aspirations. This whole thing is wrong, no matter how you look at it. And when you want to talk about the landfill issues and it was all fundraising money, no, it wasn't. It was not all fundraising money. It was on the backs of the people of the community. But let's talk about the $4.5 million in taxpayer money that came out of the Superfund projects to fix that issue out there and put engineering in, that we every day sit and hope it keeps working because we got that other sleeping giant sitting in our township. So no, it's not on all fundraising things. It was people's time and effort and determination that changed that. And it was those same things that changed legislation. The largest landfill reform bill in the state's history happened as a result of that. And Trumbull County got to be the poster child of the issue. So it's not about just people fundraising. And it's not about money. Don't put a price tag on the future of our community. That's wrong. And you're not spending a whole bunch more money. Mr. Malloy, will you please make a motion and put it to a vote?
I'll make a motion that we as commissioners continue to allow our legal counsel to follow through with the appeal joining Warren Township on the ruling regarding the dam. And of course, there's some formalities we'll change in the language with that, but Mr. Wilson had met with us already. He'd given us his opinion before, and I believe the price that he had given us was more than fair, and it wasn't near as much as what we've already done to go to the first hearing. The appeal process was going to be much less. And if we get to court, like I said, I think we win.
Commissioner, you had just mentioned a letter of support, and then now you're putting on the floor.
I'm saying at the very least, that's what we should do, but I believe we should send him across the street to go fight.
Give you a check for $10,000 today, if that will get.
Let's go into executive session.
Pardon me?
Let's go into executive session with the attorney.
Okay. Mr. Danzo, is Bill still here?
No.
He's not? All right, let's find well, I agree, Kay. Mr. Bernard is recommending we go into executive session with our attorney. And I just need to find the wording for it. So if that's all right, I think that's a good move. Let me find the, okay. That's it. All right, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion. We enter an executive session pursuant to ORC 12122 G3 conference with an attorney for the public body concerning disputes involving a public body that are subject to pending or imminent court action.
Second motion?
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Mr. Bernard.
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Wilson.
You- this.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to reconvene from executive session pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 12122G3. Conferences with an attorney for the public body concerning disputes involving the public body are subject to pending or imminent court action.
Second motion?
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Mr. Bernard,
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Yes. Okay, we're going to reconvene. Do you want to make a motion?
Okay.
You know the motion.
I'd like to make a motion that the Trumbull County Board of Commissioners can continue in the appeal process, utilizing Attorney Wilson to join up with Warren Township to continue the appeal process regarding the case of Board of Commissioners versus Trumbull County Metropolitan or Metro Parks Park Board in regards to the dam.
Second motion?
Okay, in discussion. I feel we're in this fight so far. We have to look at the townships and say we could do everything we can for you. There are other instances where townships get involved with government that we can't handle, unfortunately. We have an instance, of course, with the auditor in a township. We can't get involved in that. It's not our fight. We don't have a dog in the race with that. We don't have any say so. With this here, this is a park board that we fund. So it is something that we have. We're going to get blamed regardless of it for the park board, even though we don't pick the board members. We do fund that board. We have allowed them to do things in the past through their funding. And I think we as a park, or we as a board of commissioners own some responsibility for their actions, although it's like a parent can only be responsible for their kid's actions so much. If the kid goes out in the community and does bad, it's not really the parent's fault or his brother's fault or the family's fault, but in a sense, maybe it's the way he was raised. We all got to assume some fault with that. In this situation here, I believe there is a happy medium. I believe there is a sit down amongst adults agreement that is out there waiting to happen rather than the park board making Warren Township spend taxpayer dollars, us spend taxpayer dollars, or us have the park board spend taxpayer dollars that could go to cleaning up the bike trail and to much better causes than spending the money fighting a township in which they have property and have to be a good neighbor with. This whole fight is stupid. This whole fight is something that could have been avoided from the beginning. There are alternatives, I believe. Unfortunately, we as a board inherited this. You as Warren Township inherited this. You didn't ask for this. It's something that dam goes back years to when they got it for $1. And I believe there are common sense prevails. And we had a meeting here with Senator Marino recently too, and he said, common sense. We got to use common sense. In this situation, the common sense is let's sit down and come up with a better agreement that works for everybody. Let's all walk away from the table with a little bit of a smile and a little bit of a frown and realize we did the best we could as public servants. I made this motion here to get to the appeal. We feel we do have somebody with knowledge that can assist and help in this to let justice prevail. But beyond that, the gentlelady there made a wonderful gesture that's how much she believes in this to put her own money towards it. I would ask, and we need to check the legality of it, but we'll get us through the appeal. We're going to send Mr. Wilson over to fight like hell for us in the township. But when it gets beyond that, if we do win that, there's going to be a battle, and it's going to be a costly battle. So I would ask that potentially maybe pull your funds together on the township side, or people, generous citizens that want to help out in that fight to lessen the burden on the rest of the county. That when we get to that point, we can't drain the pot for all the other 23 other townships and village, or 23 other townships and village for this one instance. But in a sense too, we do have to show as a board that we support the townships and we support residents of your township in what's right from wrong. That's my opinion.
Mr. Chairman, my comment is that this is a perfect example of open discussion, where you had one board member that wanted to move ahead. You had two board members that said, we agree that the dam should stay, but we didn't want to spend any more money. But after lengthy discussion, I always felt that the dam should stay. Our attorney thinks that we have a great chance of winning that appeal. And for that cost, I've agreed to go to the next step. And let's just see where it lands. But we are reaching a point where we're going to have to say, enough spent is enough spent. But I've agreed to go to the appeal. I have faith in our attorney, and hopefully we can win that and come back. And our goal is the same goal that we always had. Let's get the park board to a table to come out with an alternative agreement that works for both of us. And that's the reasonable thing to do. That's the sensible thing to do. Let's just hope it can happen. And hopefully we can get this verdict, this decision turned around.
Thank you, commissioners. And I would agree with Commissioner Bernard. And Ms. Roth, just so you know, I'm not the only one here that is concerned with the taxpayers' money. We are spending monies for a township. We have 24 townships. Believe me, we're hearing from all sides. It's a hard decision to make. I will concur with Commissioner Bernard that, originally, like we came into this meeting and our intentions were probably going to be to support you, but not to continue to move forward in the appeal process because we are getting deep. And I would also hope that the community would rise up like we have done with grassroots efforts and maybe donate some monies and get some monies together so that it cuts the burden on the county and the taxpayers. But Ms. Roth, you know yourself, it is about money. I mean, we're in a situation where it's not our money, it's taxpayer money. But with that being said, during the appeal process, I will agree to move forward with the appeal. Our attorney has told us he can make it for the 1 o'clock appointment with your attorney. And hopefully this somewhere down the road comes to an end and an amicable solution. That's all we've ever asked for. Hopefully it does. I don't know, but yes, I have a yes vote.
Mr. Chairman, before we vote on it, I want to make one other comment. We've had a couple issues here this morning that we all haven't agreed on. But I think one thing that's different about this board than other boards, we do it respectfully. We don't take it personal. I may not agree on this issue with them, but we move on to the next issue. And I think you've seen that today, that this board's a little bit different. And I commend the other two commissioners that, no matter what my feelings are and their feelings may differ, that we don't hold it personally and we can move on for the betterment of the county. I'm ready to vote.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Said.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Mr. Bernard.
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Yes. Okay. We've already had public comment. I
Mr. Wilson, go to work.
think we're going to need a motion.
You get out of here, Mr. Wilson. Well, Rick, I didn't get a chance on the wildlife thing last week because I wasn't here.
Huh.
So I got one for you.
Could it be like 3 minutes?
So this will be quicker than that. We went to General Motors complex yesterday, Foxconn, the old GM.
Right.
And every time you drive by the turnpike or you go down Halleck Young or you go down Bailey Road, I challenge you to look up in the sky and not see a blue heron. There was always one flying over the old General Motors plant. And there's a reason for that. There is a rookery behind the old General Motors plant. A rookery is a group of trees where herons nest together. Usually there's at least 100 nests together, sometimes as many as 500. The rookery behind the old General Motors plant here in Trumbull County is one of the biggest, not only in Ohio, but in North America. It right now is nesting time, March through April. There's anywhere from 2 to 6 nests in a tree. Those big, lanky, crazy-looking crane-like birds with the long legs you see in the pond, hunting for fish and frogs and snakes and crawdads, nest in trees. And they got the worst-looking nest you ever saw. It looks like they could barely stand up, but they literally lay eggs in those trees. And you'll see one nest that'll look like a Christmas tree, and it might have 40 nests in one tree. And they have a rookery also at the north end of Mosquito Lake in the refuge at the end of Bezetta Road at the T, behind one of the ponds. You can see one, but it's a neat little thing. They all come together to nest for safety in numbers. Out of those nests behind General Motors, there'll be 200 to 300 young that will eventually end up on the ground and learning to fly in the swamplands back there. And that's why if you look there, there is always a blue heron flying over the turnpike. Or if you're driving and listening to this, or next time you go, I guarantee you're going to see one. The last 10 or 20 times I went by there, you know, I bet in my head, am I going to see one? Am I going to see one? I see one every single time. And yesterday we pulled out, I looked up and there's a damn blue heron flying over the parking lot. And it made me realize that's the wildlife tip for this week is great blue herons.
Well, thank you,
Rookery.
Commissioner.
rookery.
We always appreciate those reports. They're not mammals, but I call it Malloy's mammal report. All right, we need a motion?
Mr.
Motion
Chair,
to adjourn.
I second the motion.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Mr. Bernard.
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Yes. Thank you, everyone.